What if I told you one man is building an entire cabin in the Canadian wilderness using nothing but a chainsaw, ancient Japanese fire techniques, and logs he cut down himself? We're starting off in the heart of the Canadian wilderness, surrounded by endless birch, maple, and evergreen trees as far as the eye can see. This isn't your average construction site. We're talking about a place where Mother Nature doesn't mess around, and every building choice has to stand up to some seriously brutal weather conditions. Right from the get-go, you can see this builder knows what he's doing. He's laying out specially treated lumber beams straight onto the forest floor, creating that crucial foundation that'll support everything above it. But here's where it gets interesting. He's taking a blowtorch to every single beam, using this ancient Japanese technique called shosugiban. Next up, it's time to prep those logs. The builder heads out, drops some nearby trees, and starts peeling off all that bark like he's unwrapping nature's biggest presents. The fresh wood smell must be incredible out there. Then comes the real artistry. Using a chainsaw fitted with this clever guide attachment, he's creating perfectly flat surfaces and carving out these puzzle piece notches. These aren't random cuts either. They're engineered to lock together so tightly that winter winds won't find a single crack to sneak through. Watch how those walls start coming together, one massive log at a time. The precision here is mind-blowing. We're talking about maneuvering logs that could weigh hundreds of pounds into exact position. Between each layer, he's stuffing moss into every tiny gap. Now we're getting to the really heavy-duty stuff, building a roof that can handle whatever Canadian weather throws at it. First thing up is this absolute beast of a ridge beam, hand-carved and positioned with the kind of precision you'd expect from a Swiss watchmaker. This isn't just any old piece of wood, it's the backbone of the entire roof system, and getting it wrong means disaster when the snow starts piling up. From that central beam, the builder starts adding horizontal ceiling joists using standard lumber, connecting them to the log walls below with techniques that would make old-time carpenters proud. But here's where the engineering gets clever. He's installing these vertical support posts that run from the second floor straight up to help carry all that weight. Each post gets temporary diagonal braces to keep everything perfectly straight while he locks in those horizontal connectors. Time for the roof skeleton to take shape. Every rafter gets measured, cut, and angled just right. And trust me, in snow country, that angle matters more than you might think. Too shallow and you're asking for a cave-in when 3 feet of snow decides to park on your roof. Too steep and you're wasting materials and creating unnecessary wind resistance. For the skin of this beast, he's going with OSB panels. Those window openings that were roughed out during the wall phase, now they're getting their final fittings. Here's where things get interesting. The builder's adding a proper entrance porch. Out here in the wilderness, this isn't about curb appeal or property value. This covered area is your buffer zone. The place where you shake off snow, hang wet gear, and mentally shift from survival mode to cozy cabin life. It's functional architecture at its finest. With the heating location sorted, it's chimney time. Starting from the stove connection, he's building up through the roof, making sure everything's sealed tight against drafts. The clearances here are critical. Too close to combustibles and you've got a fire hazard, too much gap and you're losing precious heat. The interior framing kicks into high gear with these massive logs that basically become the cabin's internal skeleton. They're not just decorative, these bad boys are redistributing all that roof weight down to the foundation, preventing any middle-age sagging that log cabins can develop over the years. Once the bones are solid, our builder switches gears to electrical work. Running wire through a handmade log cabin requires some creative problem solving, but he's threading cables through the structure like he's been doing it his whole life. Every wire run has to be planned, drilled, and protected from damage. The staircase installation is pure functionality, straight run, open risers, maximum efficiency. No fancy spirals or unnecessary flourishes here, just solid construction that'll handle decades of traffic. Each tread gets cut to exact measurements, creating a simple pathway to the loft that doesn't eat up precious floor space. Insulation time is where the magic happens. Those pink fiberglass bats might not be sexy, but their R-value rating is what stands between you and frostbite when temperatures plummet. The builder's carefully tucking them into every cavity, making sure there are no gaps where cold air can sneak through. Proper installation is crucial here. Compressed insulation loses effectiveness, and gaps create thermal bridges that'll show up as cold spots and condensation problems. With the shell basically complete, he shifts into furniture-making mode. Every piece is custom-built to fit the space perfectly. No IKEA runs out here in the wilderness. Each shelf, cabinet, and surface is measured against the actual space, accounting for walls that might not be perfectly plumb and floors that probably aren't exactly level. Looking at the finished product, you're seeing centuries of building wisdom condensed into one structure. This style traces back to Scandinavian timber techniques that Vikings probably used, brought to North America by waves of European settlers who adapted these methods to local materials. The French, English, and Nordic pioneers all left their mark on this building tradition. By the time the frontier was pushing westward in the 1700s and 1800s, log cabins had become the symbol of self-reliant living. People loved them because you could build one with basic tools, local materials, and a whole lot of determination. No Home Depot required. These structures sheltered everyone from pioneers to presidents, becoming an integral part of North American identity. Everything about this cabin screams authenticity. Those round logs aren't trying to hide behind drywall, they're the star of the show, complete with knots, grain patterns, and all the character marks that make each log unique. It's architecture that doesn't apologize for what it is. The beauty lies in the honesty of materials, where every surface tells the story of the tree it came from. The interior layout is a masterclass in making small spaces work hard. That central area pulls triple duty as living room, kitchen, and heating hub. The wood stove sits strategically placed to warm the whole space, while cooking surfaces hug the walls to maximize movement. Nothing blocks the flow. You can move from task to task without doing the furniture shuffle. The open design also means heat circulates freely. That staircase tucked against the wall, positioned perfectly to access the loft without turning the main floor into an obstacle course. Every square foot has a job, and they're all working overtime. The vertical circulation is handled efficiently, leaving the maximum amount of usable floor space below. Electrical work continues as the builder runs more circuits, preparing for modern conveniences in this traditional shell. Each outlet placement is strategic, accessible but not intrusive, sufficient for needs without cluttering the walls. You might wonder why there's so much wood everywhere you look. Well, it's not just nostalgia. Wood is pulling serious duty here as structure, insulation, and climate control all rolled into one. This isn't random tree hugging, it's calculated material science at work. Wood breathes, flexes, and responds to environmental changes in ways that synthetic materials can't match. Those log walls aren't just holding up the roof, they're acting like giant thermal batteries. During the day, they soak up heat from the stove and slowly release it at night when temperatures plummet. The wood's natural properties mean it doesn't conduct cold like metal or concrete would, creating what engineers call a thermal break. This thermal mass effect is particularly valuable in climates with big temperature swings. Wood's secret superpower: you can work with it using basic tools and human muscle. Need to adjust a notch? Grab a chisel. Want to add a shelf? Fire up the drill. Try doing that with concrete or steel in the middle of nowhere. This adaptability is gold when you're a one-person construction crew miles from the nearest hardware store. Plus, mistakes aren't catastrophic. Wood forgives and allows for modifications in ways that brittle or composite materials don't. It's a living material that continues to work with you long after installation. The roof gets special treatment: metal panels that'll shed snow and rain for decades. Each panel locks into the next, secured with special screws that have rubber washers to seal out moisture. The chimney penetration gets extra attention with brackets and flashing to handle wind loads and snow buildup. This metal roofing might seem at odds with the natural wood aesthetic, but it's a practical choice that'll outlast multiple generations of shingle replacements. Inside, the custom woodworking continues. Every shelf, every surface, every detail is measured, cut, and fitted by hand. No mass-produced anything here, it's all bespoke craftsmanship. The builder's creating furniture that works with the logs, not against them. Curves follow natural contours. The builder knows that logs alone won't cut it in this climate. While they provide some insulation value, you need serious thermal protection when temperatures drop to Arctic levels. That's why every gap gets filled, every cavity gets stuffed with insulation, creating multiple defense layers against the cold. He's building a thermal envelope that has to perform in conditions that would make most buildings fail. Here's the thing about moisture and insulation: they're mortal enemies. Wet insulation is about as useful as a chocolate teapot, so every vapor barrier, every seal, every overlap is crucial. Get it wrong, and you're not just cold, you're looking at rot, mold, and structural failure. The builder's treating this phase like his life depends on it, because out here, it kind of does. Each layer of protection works with the others, creating a system that manages moisture from both inside and outside sources. It's building science at its most fundamental and most critical. The symbiotic relationship between these systems is beautiful when done right. Insulation keeps heat in, moisture barriers keep water out, and together they create a cocoon of comfort in the harshest conditions. One system protects the other in an endless cycle of mutual support. The wood structure provides the framework, the insulation fills the voids, the vapor barriers manage moisture, and the interior finish protects it all. Outside, finishing touches are going on. The porch deck extends outward, creating a proper transition zone between wild and domestic spaces. Steps are built with the same attention to detail as everything else: solid treads, secure risers, and a handrail that won't wobble when you're carrying in firewood. Exterior electrical gets the weatherproof treatment with proper conduit and sealed fixtures. Every connection has to survive temperature swings, moisture, and whatever else nature throws at it. The upper walls get their final cladding, completing the weather envelope. A final coat of protective finish goes on, sealing the deal. The transformation from construction site to home accelerates. Upstairs, the loft becomes a cozy sleeping quarters with built-in bed platforms that maximize the usable space under the sloped roof. Downstairs, the kitchen takes shape with handcrafted countertops that complement the rustic aesthetic while providing durable work surfaces. The bathroom area gets proper fixtures, bringing civilization to the wilderness. Each element is chosen for durability, functionality, and compatibility with off-grid systems. No power-hungry appliances or high-maintenance fixtures here. The crown jewel of comfort arrives with the water system installation. Whether it's gravity-fed from an uphill source or pump pressurized, having running water transforms this from a fancy camping shelter into a real home. Combined with the heating, insulation, and electrical systems, this final addition completes the off-grid paradise. The plumbing has to be protected from freezing, accessible for maintenance, and reliable without constant attention. When the dust settles and the tools are put away, what remains is more than just a building. The Wild North River cabin stands as proof that one person with skills, determination, and respect for traditional techniques can create something extraordinary. It's a personal monument to self-reliance, craftsmanship, and the timeless appeal of living close to nature.